guys, welcome back. We're out here in the wilderness. It's quite beautiful. Today, I'm going to show you how to make 3 primitive survival traps. Figure 4 deadfall, Paiute deadfall, and the Mojave scissor snare. I'm going to show you how to make them and how they work. I'm not going to trap any animals today. We'll save that for another survival mission. Let's get to it. Also, the Samuel Kells hoodie. They're finally here. After 5 years, we have established the final design, the infinite spiral, indicating life, spirit, dreams, body, consciousness. No, but seriously, this is it. This is the final design. Pretty epic. Goes in line with everything survival. This is the Carhartt Samuel Kells collaboration right here. Super durable hoodie. Follow my Instagram. I'll be posting on there a lot more often, more frequently. If you want to see some exclusive content, you can subscribe to the Instagram, and I'll be posting on there at least twice a week about everything I do throughout my day. All right, you guys, let's get back and make some primitive traps. So for the Paiute deadfall, you only need 2 sticks. You'll have your upright, a lever stick, and then the special ingredient, some sort of cordage, all right? Now, I brought paracord. This is what most campers, backpackers, and hikers will usually have on them. And if you tear this stuff open, there's a lot more smaller fibers, threads that build up the main strength of this paracord, okay? So I'll be cutting that open, and we'll be using a little bit of that cordage inside. Now, I said you only need 2 sticks for the Paiute deadfall, but you technically need a toggle stick. Now, the toggle stick is only about 1.5 to 2.5 inches long. It's something really small. It's kind of like a plate. The tension between the toggle stick and the rock is also a bait stick, all right? So now a bait stick, you don't even need to carve that. It can be anything, a small twig that you find on the ground. I only need about 2 inches, all right? So that looks pretty good right there. You're gonna score around, swap sides, and repeat the same thing, cut right back into your previous cut, basically making a little weak point there. We'll keep this in case something happens to our little toggle stick here. Now I'm basically going to carve a little bit of a flat side on this, both sides, okay? There you go. Here is the toggle stick. You can use these traps again, you know, so you take care of it, you make it look nice, you clean it up. You can reuse your traps in the future, all right? We're gonna take a look at our main, the body of the Paiute. Okay, so we have our upright, a little bit of a flat bottom. That's what you need to sit on the rock. And then right here, you have it going into a V. Also, that's going to sit in a notch, all right? So that's going on the lever stick, okay? So we'll do the thick end of the lever stick up top to help support the weight of the rock there. We're gonna come up about 2 inches there, and that looks really good already, all right? So we're gonna throw the notch in right here. It looks perfect, all right? That looks great, just like that. That's what you're looking for. Your paracord, your string, your cordage, whatever you have is going to be tied to the bottom of your lever stick. So basically what you want to do, now you can just wrap it around it, but to really secure it and make sure it's not going to go anywhere, I like to score around it. All right, so you make a nice slot for the string to wrap around, all right? And that can be pretty close to the bottom. So I'm gonna come up about 1/2 inch to 1 inch, somewhere right around in here. It doesn't need to be super clean too. If I'm making a permanent set, I like to make it really nice. I'm particular about the type of wood I'm using, that type of material, you know, hardwood, smooth, less carving, really ready to go. What type of species am I looking for? Those are things I'm keeping in mind for a permanent set, a permanent trap, all right? Perfect, that looks great. All right, so lever stick is done, upright is done, notch, V, there we go. scored around the bottom of the lever. I love the Paiute deadfall. The only downside is you need some sort of cordage, but if you know where to look and you don't have any, there's cordage all out here. You can make cordage no problem. All right, so what we're gonna do now is go ahead and open up the paracord and get into the innards here. We're gonna need a little strand here. You don't need anything long. I'm probably gonna go about 1 foot, all right? Okay, there we go. There we go. That's all you need right here. Paracord's really strong stuff. The problem why you don't want to use something this thick for a Paiute deadfall is because the thickness, it can kind of degrade its effectiveness. It's not quite as malleable and soft and light as something like this, right? You know, so you want something really thin for your Paiute deadfall, okay? So here, let's get you guys in closer, and we're gonna tie this together here. The upright here and the lever stick is looking really good. You have your V here at the top and a notch in the top of your lever stick, and you need a little bit of overhang. Make sure you remember that. You need overhang so that way the pressure of your rock has room here to pull down, okay? It needs to push down on that. And then over here, we have our score all the way around the bottom of the lever stick, okay? And that's where we're gonna wrap the string around. Nice and tight, beautiful stuff, strong string. That's what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and put this together and see what we're looking at. Great. This is the exact length you're looking for, okay? Look at that. That's perfect. So here's the toggle stick. It's a small little guy, all right? And it's got 2 flat sides. That's basically it. Okay, nothing fancy, all right? Again, if this was a permanent set, I would be more particular about my species, the material I'm using, and I would make it look a lot better, a lot prettier of a trap, okay? You can even put cool little carvings in it if you have some room for that. You know, you're gonna be keeping it forever and get into it. Okay, so basically the other end of this string is going to be tied to the toggle stick, okay? And you don't want it tied exactly in the middle. You want it offset just a little bit, okay? Because I'll be able to explain that as it here in a minute. As it wraps around your upright here, you don't want the string tied right in the middle. It could interfere, all right? So you want it just off to the side, okay? You don't need to go all the way to the end. So to tie it around the toggle stick, I'm basically just going to come from the middle, go outside just a little bit, somewhere in here, and I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of scoring, okay? See, just like that. There you go. That's all you're looking for. A little notch here and a little notch here on the bottom, okay? So that way the string wraps right around and it doesn't want to move. Just the same concept as the bottom of your lever stick here, okay? So let's take the string here and wrap it around. You want to give yourself about 1 inch. Now sometimes when you set the Paiute deadfall trap up, you have to either tighten or loosen the toggle stick and the amount of string between it and the bottom of the lever. Sometimes I've noticed that comes into play if there's a sweet spot in there. Sometimes it likes to be really tight, sometimes it can be a little loose. So there we go, see that? Nice and tight. There we go, okay? So here is your lever stick right here, okay? And you got your upright. It's beautiful. This is exactly what we're looking for. Basically, the reason why it's offset, okay, is that you're going to wrap around it once, right? Just like that. And then there you go, okay? You can see here, so my finger here is, my left finger down here on the toggle is the bait stick, okay? And basically, you have your bait stick going to the rock, and then on the bait stick, you have your bait. It gets hit, toggle stick goes flying around your post stick here, releasing the whole trap, coming up, and the rock will fall, all right? So we're gonna find a bait stick and a rock, and we're gonna set this Paiute deadfall up. let's do it. Okay, so actually, you know, this isn't the best rock to use. The good news is that there is rock. So this is rock, and we're gonna try and find some rocks to use. So let's start looking for some rocks. We're gonna find a top rock as well, okay? So bottom rock, top rock. All right, that's 2 rocks that you're gonna need, okay? So let's take a look at this guy. I think I'm gonna bring him up. We need a smaller rock, okay? This is the top rock. And this rock's even more important. You want it to be really flat. Both rocks are important. You want some good rocks. It's actually decent. And sometimes if they're really smooth, if they're too smooth, then the rocks don't have any biting points. All these little points and divots in here are actually really nice because that's what the trap rest against, the top of the lever sticks and also the bait sticks. So all these little indentions and imperfections in the rock, that's really nice. You're looking for that. This guy, it kind of just fell apart. This is the rock we're dealing with today. Okay, not too bad. We might have something here. We might have something here. A little off. That might be all right. And again, earlier, you know how I was saying, sometimes you have to adjust the length of the string sometimes. You can see how sensitive this trap is, right? Coming in with our bait stick here. My finger is holding the toggle stick. Okay. I think we need to tighten the toggle. Sometimes you have to. Let's bring the rock back up here. Okay, not much of a bite up there. There we go. Whoa! Try up here to, move it around. If you have a set you're familiar with, sometimes it takes only seconds. Ah! Okay. Knuckle buster. That's why it's good to take your time making a trap and plan to keep it. So it's like you're really familiar with how it works, how it likes to sit, the balance of everything. This rock is what's really messing with me. There we go. That was really nice. The back of this lever stick did not want to spin. It didn't want to come towards me at all. I'm feeling good here. I've got just my finger on the toggle stick here, okay? And now I'm going in to place the bait stick. So this is the Paiute deadfall. Super good trap. So I'm going to show you guys how this thing works, okay? Here we go. So here comes a critter coming up in here, smelling around. Oh wow, just interested. I don't even know if I want to eat it. Just looking, smelling, looks good. Boom. Dinner. The Paiute deadfall, a very effective primitive trap. An upright with a V, a lever stick with a notch, and 2 inches of overhang. Scored around at the bottom to hold some string. Cordage itself, and a toggle stick, flat on both sides. The Paiute deadfall. Okay, so the first piece to the figure 4 deadfall is the upright or post stick, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have your upright, and the bottom of the upright sits on another rock or a boulder, whatever you're setting your trap on. So the bottom of the upright needs to be pretty flat, so that way it's nice and stable, okay? And then the top of it, the top of your upright needs to be tapered. That's going to fit into what we'll make next, the lever stick. So the lever stick will have a 7 notch, and the top of the upright will be tapered on both sides, and it'll go right into that notch. So let's go ahead and taper the top of this upright. Okay, there you go. So the top of the upright is nice and tapered. It's coming on both sides to make a point. However, there's one thing you want to keep in mind. You want the top of the upright to be flat. Wherever that taper meets the top of that, you want it to be nice and flat and not rounded, so that way when it sits up into the lever stick, it has a nice flat surface and it's stable. The last thing you want to do about the post stick is keep in mind that you will be making a 90-degree angle somewhere on this. So you want to make sure that there's no knobs or anything obstructing that surface. Right here I have a area where a smaller branch was coming out, so I'm just going to smooth that down. All right, so there's the post stick, and we got a nice tapered point up here. It's flat on the bottom and it's smooth throughout the whole middle here, okay? So let's move on to the lever stick. Here's the lever. It's a little bit longer than the post stick, and we're going to put the thicker end of the lever stick at the top, so that way it has a little more strength to support the rock, the weight that this will. After all, this is a deadfall, so you're going to have some sort of weight on top of this whole trap. We're going to make a 7-notch, a little slot, about 2 inches in from the top. Remember to always have a little overhang, so that way the rock has a pressure point it can lay down on, and it's over the post stick. Something like that looks just perfect. So to make the 7-notch, you want to come in at an angle on one side, and then the other side, you want to kind of cut straight down. If you have a little baby saw that can cut a straight line right down into the wood, that'll work perfect. If you're dealing with just a knife, you're going to have to carve it. So a good technique for whenever you're carving anything small and tedious and all you have is a blade, you want to use your body, use it as leverage and pressure points to increase the stability whenever you're carving. That way it makes it a lot easier and you have more control. Now that I got that line going straight down into it, I'm going to come back and slice into that 90-degree cut. Okay, that's looking really nice right there. You can see how it makes a number 7. So here's the post stick, and then here's the lever stick that goes right on top. Fits pretty good right in there. So now, moving on, the bottom of the lever stick will also come into a tapered point, just like the top of the post stick. Let's go ahead and carve that. And you just have to make sure that it's in line and oriented the right way with all the other cuts and notches. There we go, that looks pretty good. So we got the upright and the lever stick, and the lever stick's gonna go right into the back of the bait stick. We're gonna make a 7-notch, one more right here. So the back of the bait stick and the lever stick meet up, and then the front of the bait stick is underneath your weight or the rock that you're using to kill the animal with, and we're going to make this pointy so that way you can bait it really easily, put it on there so that way the animal really has to work to get that bait off. So let's go ahead and make that 7-notch, and then we'll move on to the 90-degree angles on the post stick. For the 7-notch, you just want to come in about 1 inch from the back of the bait stick. There we go. So here's the back of the bait stick right here, and this is the bottom of the lever stick. There we go. Now that can really bite into the back of the bait stick. All right, so let's put everything together here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to make a 90-degree angle right where my finger is here. And to do that, you just make 2 flat surfaces next to each other. There we go. So I'm just scraping with the blade, and that's making a really nice sharp angle here. There we go. The trap's looking pretty good. So basically, we got the 90-degree on the bottom of the post stick, and we just have to make one more 7-notch, and that will go right in the middle of the bait stick. So that way it can grab a hold of the post stick. Find a good centered point, and right in there looks pretty good. So I'm going to mark it visually, which is right here, and you want it to be oriented with the rest of the trap. So here is the top of the bait stick on the back side. So I have my mark here. It's going to be on the side right next to where it meets the post stick. So I'm going to come in with a straight end cut right here. Here's the 7 notch right here on the side of the bait stick. All right, so we have all of our pieces here. They're all carved out. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and put it together and see how it looks. So we have our upright here with the 90-degree angle facing the inside of the trap towards the rock. And then we have the bait stick here with a 7 notch up at the top and a little bit of overhang so that way the rock can bite on top. And at the bottom of the lever stick, we have it tapering into a point, and that grabs into a 7 notch on the back of the bait stick. And then we have another 7 notch that grabs onto the bottom of the post stick there where it meets the 90-degree angle. There we go. Now I'm applying pressure downward with my hand here on top of the lever stick, acting as the stone or the dead weight. So the animal comes along, hits the bait stick here, and the trap falls. One thing we need to do is go ahead and sharpen the tip of the bait stick. We just want that to be nice and pointy, so that way whenever you put the bait on, it's nice and secure and the animal has to fight for it. Even though we're not trapping anything today, I want to make the trap exactly how you would have to make it in a situation. Let's put this trap together, set some weight on it, and see it in action. Best thing to do sometimes is to set it up in your hand, get it all oriented, and then bring it underneath the trap. All right, so one thing to keep in mind is the correlation of sizes between the dead weight and the trap you have. Basically, if you have your bait stick too long, it might not fit underneath your rock or whatever your dead weight is. So those kind of need to work in unison with each other. Basically, the bottom of the bait stick, the tip here, it goes all the way underneath, so that's looking pretty good actually. This was really easy to set up, and this is the figure 4 deadfall. You have your upright here, a lever stick, and then all the way over and in is the bait stick. Pretty simple design. Let's see how it works. Here comes the animal coming in, cha-cha-cha-cha. Smells the bait. It's munching on it a little bit. The figure 4 is not super sensitive, so you really want to put that bait on there and make it work for it. Ta-ta-ta. There you go, dinner. Yeah, pretty cool. That's the figure 4 deadfall. Let's move on to the Mojave scissor snare. All right, for the third and final trap, the Mojave scissor snare. You can see in my hands, I've got a lot of different parts here. All right, so I'm gonna go over it, just stick with me, but this trap is really cool. It's very entertaining to watch go off, and it's kind of fun to make because I'm new to them as well. So the Mojave scissor snare. Basically, first thing you're gonna need, some cordage. There's gonna be a lot of cordage involved with this snare, okay? Just like any snare, all right? Here are the scissors, the Mojave scissor snare. You'll need 2 sticks the same size. And then you'll need a bait stick that's a little bit smaller than that, and a toggle stick. We've made one of these for the Paiute deadfall. And the last piece to this Mojave scissor snare are 3 sticks that are about 2 feet in length, roughly, and they're all about the same size. You need to make these 3 pieces bend. And by bend, I mean you have to make a full loop. And you want to slowly get it familiar with bending. So it might take a little bit of time, and you just want to warm it up. You want to find material that is easier to bend. You don't want to find something stiff. And obviously, whatever you harvest needs to be green, so that way it is pliable. There we go. That's what we want right there. So here are the scissors. I tapered the bottoms of the scissors so that way they meet nice and evenly right there. They'll be tied together at the bottom. And at the top of the scissors, I scored all the way around so that way the string can fit tightly around there and it won't come loose. For the bait stick, you don't need to do much other than flatten both ends. And for the toggle stick, just like the Paiute deadfall, you flatten two sides, just like this. And at the bottom of the toggle stick, you make a little bit of scoring on each side for the string to grab onto. And lastly, for the 3 sticks that are about 2 foot in length, that will be the loops. You kind of just need to make a point on each end, so that way they can go into the ground a little easier. Perfect, just like that. All right, for the Mojave scissor snare, you want to set this trap up next to some sort of flexible or malleable species, because this branch right here will act as the pressure release system. I'm going to bend it down and it'll release like that, setting the trap off. So directly underneath it, I'll be setting up the trap. Let's go ahead and get to it. So here's my pressure point. I'm going to have the front of the trap where the scissors are rested to, right underneath here, okay? So we're going to take our first loop and put it in. We'll take our second loop, just like that. And we'll take our third loop, which will be holding the bait and the toggle stick. All right, now with the loops and these pieces in the ground, there's a little bit of splitting going on, but they're really deep in there and they're sturdy. It'll still be very practical. Now let's tie the scissors together and the toggle and tie these up to our pressure release system. Whenever you're tying these two pieces together, you want to make sure you go in a figure 8 fashion. The scissors need to meet at the top, so that way it chokes and applies pressure to your prey. And then tie it off. All right, so here is the Mojave scissor snare. Really cool, technical, and sensitive trap. Basically, you have 3 loops in the ground. You want to get them as deep as they can go, with some good exposure here for the size of the animal you're trapping. You have your scissors right here, tied at the bottom, loop on one end, and string from the other end of the scissors through the loop and up to your pressure release stick. Over on this end, you have your bait stick, which is an upright between the ground and the toggle stick. And then the toggle stick, you have it tied to your pressure release stick again. So basically when the bait stick is hit, the toggle releases, releasing the whole pressure release stick that you have, tightening the scissors and capturing it within the trap. Let's go ahead and set this trap off. All right, here's the Mojave scissor snare. I'm gonna set it off with this stick, acting as the animal. It's coming through, goes in between the scissors, smells the bait, sees it, starts nibbling at it. Stuck and pinched. Getting choked out by the scissors, can't move. Branches back up top, it's keeping pressure there. Animal will eventually die. Come here, dispatch it. Perfect. That's the Mojave scissor snare. Really cool, technical, and sensitive trap. I'll go ahead and set it up again so that way you can see how it's set up, and we'll release it once more. So you bring down the pressure release system, grab the toggle stick, and throw underneath the loop, placing it on top of your bait stick. It can be a little tricky to set up. That's what makes this very sensitive. There we go. You grab the scissors, place them just like that, open them up. Now we can set the trap off again. Here comes the animal coming through, smells the bait. All right, there you have it. 3 primitive survival traps: figure 4 deadfall, Paiute deadfall, and the Mojave scissor snare. All really cool traps, and I recommend you learn them yourself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, you guys, Samuel Kells, Carhartt collaboration. Hoodies dropping soon. Orders will only be open for about a month. And once this hoodie's gone, I won't ever be making it again. If you guys want to support me and you guys like this stuff, it would mean a lot. If you check out the website, samuelkells.com, you can see everything that will be releasing soon. Survival is what nature does. You guys have a good one.